Okay, we already got a couple waiting on us. Ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. I'm Casey Porter, joined this week, hey, very special guest, Stephen Douglas, who has been hot on the trail of the Dodgers minor league system all since spring training. Stephen, I'm so glad that you decided to join. I know I messaged you quite a while back to see if we could hook up and do some shows together and get some things going and cover these minor leaguers. So thank you so much for co-hosting. We're going to do more of this. I'm not receiving enough video. My internet has been a little wonky lately, so hopefully this works. But hey, thank you for joining.
Yeah, no problem at all. We were going to get some things going and had a bit of snow in Southern California. I know it's weird, but to hear California complaining about the weather, but had a lot of snow. So kind of got snowed out on some events and some things I wanted to do. So glad to join you, Casey.
Yeah, no doubt. We have a very busy show tonight. The first thing I want to talk about, hey, the 2 walk-offs, Jahmai Jones, right in my backyard this weekend at the Bricktown Ballpark. Opening weekend for AAA Oklahoma City, and I know you got a chance to talk to him. So talk about getting a chance to talk to him, and I know you got to talk to a couple of other guys there in Las Vegas, and a lot of the interviews and a lot of things you got to do at spring training.
Yeah. Early spring training, got out there, got a lot of interviews, and then recently here, Quakes Media Day yesterday, got out and met a whole bunch of prospects that I wasn't familiar with, and got to know some guys, did a whole bunch of interviews, made a fool of myself, and then drove out to Vegas and just wanted to get a chance. I know Jahmai Jones from back in the California League, like 2017, 2018. And at the time I first interviewed him, he was the Angels' top prospect in their organization. So just a real good guy. And I wanted to, get out there, and obviously he started off fantastic, couple game winners in OKC, and then coming out to Vegas, hit a couple home runs. So the guy's hot. He's healthy, and that's the big thing with Jahmai Jones. He's had injuries in the past, and that's kind of it's kind of been a stumbling block for him, as with any player with injuries. So it's good to see Jahmai Jones is healthy, and he's a high-energy guy, and he's a guy that could come in and help in Los Angeles. I know there's a lot of pieces, a lot of things going on. You probably don't want to see Jahmai Jones come up if you're a Dodgers fan, because that might mean that there was an injury or something, but he's a good guy to come in and fill some spot time and do well when he's up.
Yeah, and that AAA roster every year, Oklahoma City, is really cool because it's a mix of guys like Devin Mann, Hunter Fiducia, Ryan Ward, Gavin Stone, Bobby Miller, the younger not even necessarily younger. A lot of these guys in the other organizations, they get major league time way before they do in the Dodgers organization because the Dodgers are so loaded. So a lot of times a guy like Jamesoutman might seem a lot older than a Jahmai Jones, or last year was Jason Martin, and really there's only like a year, maybe 2 separating them. So it's a really cool mix on the AAA roster because it's a lot of the guys like Wander Suero and Taylor Scott and Patrick Mazeika and guys like that, with major league experience. On minor league contracts, Luke Williams would be another one, Yanni Hernandez. And then you mix those with your up-and-coming prospects, and it's a really cool mix, isn't it?
No, it really is. Those guys are teaching. They're showing the way for the younger guys. The younger guys are soaking that in. And then the other thing about the older guys, they're not just there to teach. They're there to play some ball, and they are there as insurance contracts for the big league club. If somebody should go down, you can plug in a guy like this, major league experience, and not miss too much.
That's my dog in the background. I just got a new pit bull about a month ago, and every once in a while, she was on my last interview with Jake Pilarski. She introduced herself to Jake on that one, so I guess she's introducing herself right now. So I apologize for that. Hey, we have our first comment, Stephen. Good evening. Excited to have Stephen on the show. So there's your first comment.
Wow. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's from my mom.
Okay, we were fighting wildfires all last week, and then I was talking to Tim Rogers on our Dodgers Prospects podcast, and he was fighting earthquakes. You've been fighting snow, so it's been a crazy time. Okay, so 2 new prospects to look out for this year. Stephen, start right there. There's the next question from our audience. 2 new prospects to look out for this year.
From me, you want 2 new prospects that
from all you've seen in spring training. Give us 2 prospects that maybe we haven't talked about enough.
Yeah, let's see here. The tough part for me is I went out to spring training, was out there early before games were even starting, and then, as you alluded to, kind of got stuck in the snow out there. But my guys, it's and it's hard because you don't want to leave anybody out in this conversation.
Sure.
But
want me to go first?
I do. I want you to go first. I want to play off of you here. I'm not a leadoff batter.
Yeah, okay. Well, the way I'm going to do this, not necessarily new prospects, because a new prospect would still probably be like in the Arizona Complex League. Sure. I'm going to go with the prospect that I think, not on the top 30 prospects list and is massively, massively, massively underrated. Kind of like the three guys that were taken in the Rule 5 draft, like Ryan Noda, Jose Hernandez, Gus Farland. I'm going that route. My first guy I'm going to mention, absolutely no doubt about it, he's going to start in Double-A Tulsa. His name is Jordan Leisure. He pitched at the University of Tampa there in UT is what they call it, in Tampa, Florida there. He's 97, okay, and he went I believe it was almost 2 months last year, and it was close to 25 outings in a row without scoring. I started calling him Ivan Drago because it was like he was a machine. I mean, he wasn't human. He's up to 97. He has that four-seam that rides up in the zone. The nasty slider. I'm telling you, this guy has closer. He's one of those guys that you can't get his heartbeat to race, so he's perfect for those big moments because he never gets uptight, never gets too worried about things. Sure. Super, super talented. The process off the field is incredible. So my first one, I'm going to say, how about we split this in half? I'll give my prospect. My prospect is Jordan Leisure. I'm going to play tag and say you're it.
How about Nick Biddison, outfielder?
Nick Biddison, good one.
He uses the whole field when he hits. He's got power to all fields. I like the way he goes the other way. I think as far as a prospect, he's a good guy to latch onto and kind of root for, especially if you're in Southern California. You can head out to Rancho Cucamonga while he's with the Quakes. I anticipate probably 2 or 3 months there, and he'll be moving up to Great Lakes. But Nick Biddison.
Okay, we have another one. Indeed, welcome, Steve. Okay, yet another exciting gentleman with quality insight helping Casey prove the point why he's the reincarnation of it himself. I love that. Those comments are so fantastic. I'll tell you what, Stephen, you and I both, the Hot Stove Baseball Talk that you run there, you do wonderful work over there. Your work, speaks for itself. And Dodgers Daily, and then Tim Rogers with Dodgers 2080. We're still kind of small, We're kind of niche-ish, and we're kind of moms and pops-ish. What you'll find, though, with our crowds, okay, we have the best crowds of any shows on earth. No doubt about it. They know baseball. They understand baseball. Their comments are just absolutely fantastic. Okay, hey, love the pod. We have another comment. Made me a prospect hugger, especially during spring. Is it me or does Chase Whiska look different? Yeah, no, that is not Chase. That is Steven. Usually Chase is with me. So Chase is right smack dab in the middle of his baseball season. He's going to be hooked up until May. So nice. I've got Steven for as many times as Steven will come on. We'll take him every single time. But yeah, so getting a good crowd going. You're going to find, hey, we have the best crowd, absolutely hands down, of any show out there. So.
No, you know what? I mean, in my time covering Dodgers prospects in the California League, I noticed that the crowd is very knowledgeable. The people that you get as followers, a lot of times, are friends and family, too, of the players. So you get a little bit of insight there. So I love it.
Exciting that Gavin Stone is getting ready to take the mound here in about 20 minutes. I wanted to kind of address his last start on this show. He gave up the 6 runs. Go to one of my social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and search that last post I did on it. It's very similar to Michael Grove's performance on Monday. Just watch it. He gave up like 3 just real tough luck hits. Yeah. He made great pitches. And it's amazing, Steven, you know this as well as anybody, that baseball is such a game of inches, and it's so cruel. And, a guy can just jam shot 3 balls to left field like what happened to Gavin Stone, and then you can run into an umpire that's not calling strikes like Gavin Stone did, right? And then all of a sudden it goes sideways in a hurry. So that's 6 runs that Gavin Stone gave up. I can't remember all the details at this point. If you go back to my social medias, it explains all that. So excited to have Gavin Stone in Las Vegas tonight, huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Always good to see Gavin throw. And I mean, it's part of the progression, it's part of the process, and you can't have a great start every start early in the season, throw it out the window. You know what I mean? Did you get your pitches in? Did you get your work in? Do you feel good? Recovery's there? You mentally feel good? Okay, move on, go to the next start. Another thing, too, and I'm not sure, I know AAA, PCL is using the robot umpires a little bit.
I saw it a lot last year.
Yeah, and so,
terrible.
I mean.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
I love all the other rules. That was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, it seems like the strike zone is now like this circle, this sphere inside of the box that you
it's
think
terrible.
of for
it does
a strike
not work.
zone. Yeah, and so I think there's a lot of pitches that, okay, you're not getting the call, you don't get the call, and then you've got to come in and you got to throw a cookie, and the guy's going to get a base hit, and you're down in the count. Not saying that that's what happened to Gavin Stone, but I've definitely seen it happen in the AAA games here so far.
And then I've seen the opposite of it where, it won't call a pitch like for Gavin Stone that, I mean, gosh almighty, it's a strike. I'm sorry. I don't care what machine I don't care what the machine says, it's a strike. And then all of a sudden it'll throw one. Go watch some of my videos of Bobby Miller last year, and it'll be 6 inches off the plate. It'll be in between the knees and the ankles, and they'll call it a strike. And it's like, okay, this isn't working. And I'll tell you what, I said from the very beginning, I talked to Landon Knack about this, the pitch clock rules. I tried to tell, I am a baseball purist. I think you know that about me. Sure. I tried to tell everybody they were going to love these. Just, hey, I'm a baseball purist, but it's awesome. I'm just telling you, after about the second game, you don't notice the clocks. What you do notice is that it just seems like everything's always moving, and it's an awesome pace of play. So I am not against the new rules. I even like putting the runner at second base to start the extra innings, and I'll tell you why, because I've been in those extra innings where, that temperature drops about 40 degrees in the spring, and all of a sudden, it's 72 degrees in the third inning, and it's 32 degrees in the 11th inning, and all of a sudden, I've been in the dugout, going, okay, well, how in the hell is this ever going to end? I've been in that dugout. So I've always been, plus I thought it added that strategy, hey, do you bunt the guy over to third? That kind of deal. So I'm not against it, but the robo-ump sucks, point blank. Yeah,
the robo-ump, it does. It sucks. But I do like the new pace of play. I didn't think I was going to like it because I kind of hate everything Rob Manfred does. But this one, I think he actually nailed it. So far, I really like it.
Hey, okay, I'm going to go through this. This might be a little bit boring, but check this out, Steven.
Let's do it.
Okay. Jake Candleberry, Nick Frasso, Alec Gamboa, Ben Harris. If you remember Ben Harris, I believe he led all the minor leagues in strikeout per inning ratio last year, struck everybody out. Kyle Hurt. There's another one. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Watch out. Kyle Hurt. This dude has some of the most talent of any pitcher in the organization. He threw a 91-mile-an-hour slider last year. He threw a 5-inning no-hitter before he got moved up to Tulsa. Okay, watch out. I'm telling you, he got to play on the main field. He's from San Diego. He got to pitch in the Freeway Series. And I actually talked to his dad, and he said, hey, he couldn't even feel the ball first couple of pitches because he was so nervous. Watch out for Kyle Hurt. I can't wait to watch him.
That's a good one, yes.
Yeah, Landon Knack, Jordan Leisure, Jack Little, Lyle Lockhart Jr., who was Arkansas's Friday night starter, Willis Montgomery, Cole Percival. Watch out for Cole Percival. Stephen, he was hitting 99 last year, 5 pitches. Be interesting. I think Cole maybe wants to be a starter sometime in his future. I think he's going to be Rule 5 draft eligible at the end of this year. So I think this is going to be, yeah, no doubt. Okay,
he's from UC Riverside.
Yeah, no doubt. His dad was the coach there too, as well while he's there. Okay, John Rooney, River Ryan, Emmett Sheehan, who was hitting 99 last year, Diego Cartaya, Carson Taylor, both catchers that have been top 30 prospects at one point. Cody Hosey, who was a first-round draft pick. Eddie's Leonard, Brandon Lewis, who led the Dodgers minor league organization in 2021 in home runs per at bat. Yorbit Vivas, who is on the 40-man roster. Johnny DeLuca, who's on the 40-man roster. Andy Pajes is on the 40-man roster. Jose Ramos, who is one of the top prospects in the entire organization. And Emmanuel Vargas, who led the Midwest League in on-base percentage for the last year and a half.
Also, baby.
Holy shit.
Wow, you better get out to some driller games, man.
Yeah. How about that for a roster?
Wow.
Holy smokes. Oh, my goodness.
That's a lot of fun right there.
Yeah, dive into that roster for a little bit.
Wow. I mean, so many potential stars there, so many top echelon prospects. Of course, Diego Cartaya, you start there. The tremendous power, the catching prowess, developing, and it'll be an important year, I think, in his development in Double A. I think Double A is a good test, a good threshold for any prospect.
It's major league talent.
It is. Yeah. No, absolutely. Oh, wow. That outfield.
Yeah, no doubt.
That outfield. Yeah, that's a lot of fun with Yorbit Vivas in that lineup. Oh, Eddie's Leonard. I mean,
your outfielder,
there's
Johnny
a lot
DeLuca.
of future major leaguers there.
Johnny DeLuca, Andy Pages, Jose Ramos in the outfield.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
You could put that in a major league. I'm just telling you could put this lineup in the major leagues and they would probably go 500. Am I wrong?
Batting average 500 or
I'm saying they would go 81 and 81.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I think, man, that's a really good outfield in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let's
get out there. Oh my goodness.
Hey, if you do, make sure and let me know. I will show you all the ropes as far as everywhere to go and what to do while we're there. Okay, so going to dive in. Okay, why not? You're my guest on this show, and hopefully you come on. Hopefully you're not a guest. Hopefully you just become a co-host someday with this show and come on anytime. You're getting ready to do some play-by-play on tennis, right? You've been doing you did a lot. Well, you do a lot of the Big West basketball and baseball. Is that what you do?
Yeah. Basically anything that's a home broadcast for UC Riverside. That's why I know Cole Percival. I've seen him pitch in college. Seen him throw many innings, and he was a starter when he was a Highlander. But so anything that's at home broadcast for UC Riverside that's on ESPN Plus, I'm the broadcaster for. So any sport, softball, baseball, tennis, as I have the next couple days, which is my worst sport, by the way. I also do volleyball, basketball, and soccer.
Just stretch your neck out and get used to,
I'm just not going to say much. I'm just going to let the action play out, and then I'll say, okay, what a backhand,
Joseph said you lost me at the Phantom Runner. That always happens.
Right?
People hate the Phantom Runner, which I totally understand.
I didn't want to say too much about it, but I was like, I don't know about that one, Casey. But.
Oh, yeah. I was putting myself out there. I totally understand that. Hey, and I totally expected the bullets to start flying whenever. That's why I said I even because typically speaking, okay, bad umpiring plus being under the weather didn't help his bottom line, but he still pitched well enough. I think we're talking about Michael Grove, boy, what a tough outing he had the other night. He was cruising through 4, and then, he walks leadoff man. Okay, he gets a 1-2 count. He throws a really good curveball. I believe it's Ryan McMahon. Fouls it off, and then Michael Grove, point blank, pulls 3 pitches. That's on Michael, right? Okay, then Moustakas is the next hitter. He gets 3-2 to Moustakas. McMahon's off at first base. The 3-2 pitch, absolutely, unequivocally, is strike 3. And then we have a strike him out, throw him out. But instead, the pitch is called ball force. Now we have first and second. And then on the next hitter, he throws a perfect slider. Go and watch it. The slider hits low and away. The guy hits an 83.6 mile an hour ground ball, which on 83.6 mile an hour balls in the major leagues, the batting average is exactly 189. Okay? So instead of that being a double play ball like it should have been, it's a double. And Muncy was shaded towards the second base bag because they knew Grove was going to throw the ball away. Okay, so other than the 3 pitches that Grove pulled against McMahon for the leadoff walk and the 5th, which is totally on him, he absolutely did his job.
No, yeah, he did. He was cruising along. He was throwing strikes. He was kind of getting into the rhythm, I think, of the entire starting rotation, averaging, about 12 and a half pitches per inning, which is, the league average, I think, is around 17 pitches per inning. So they were all just doing a phenomenal job. Michael Grove just kind of slot in, saw what his compadres were doing there, and then hit a rough spot. That strike 3 on the strike him out, throw him out. Will Smith, I think, was the catcher, kind of popped up. Seemed like the umpire kind of got distracted by that, but it was clearly at the top of the strike zone, at least hit the top of his strike zone in most other pitches. But yeah, I mean, you know, you got to go with building on the good. It's early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Grove started off the game in fantastic fashion, was cruising, and then hit a rough patch. So, I mean, I think you just take from it what you can, you learn from it, you move on. And I think it's a good first performance. I mean, Dodgers still come away with a W.
Yep. Hey, I'm glad you said that because it's exactly what Michael said. He said, hey, the most important thing is in my starts, the Dodgers are 1-0, you know?
Right.
So
yeah.
that's really the takeaway that you take from that. Okay, we have some more comments. Okay, and that brings us into Mike. Muncy made an error that started all of those hits. I'm going to say this. I've said it forever. I have watched Max Muncy play since he's been at Keller High School back in Keller, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Got to see him a lot at Baylor. He came to Stillwater, played Oklahoma State, hit like 11 home runs in 3 games. Got to see him a lot at the Bricktown Ballpark, the Big 12 tournament. So when the Dodgers picked him up, it wasn't a matter of if he was going to hit. It was a matter of when to me. I'd seen him too many times. I'm going to say this. The first however long I saw him, he just was not good defensively. And this is when he was still playing first base. And so when they moved him to third base, it's like not quite sold on that, but you kind of felt like you had to get all your offensive guys in there. So, hey, you know, if, you know, and he's made 2 errors so far and his fielding percentage is under 900. Okay. This is the major leagues. Okay. This isn't Sunday school. Okay. This is all about results. The Dodgers can't have a third baseman that's fielding under 900. Will that continue for the whole year?
Ooh, man.
Good question.
Rough one. Yeah, I mean, there was that bunt, I think in last night's game where Muncy, he hesitated, and it seemed like he wanted Julio to take that one, and I think he could have got the out. I mean, listen, he's been moving around first base, second base. The Dodgers ask a lot of position players. I think it's early. Sure, 2 early errors doesn't look great. I think Max Muncy figures it out enough to, I mean, he's got when he's on, he's got a tremendous bat, and you really want him in the lineup. I think that he fields good enough to justify being in the lineup because of how good he's going to hit. And I think he is going to come around this season as opposed to last year.
I guess my question would be if he proves, and it's going to be until junior. I keep saying this. Hey, with these veteran guys, when J.D. Martinez wasn't hitting in spring training, I tried to warn people with these veteran guys that are making $5, $6, $10, $11 million, they're going to get all the way till July, no matter what. They could go 0 for whatever. I mean, it would take a monumentally bad performance for them to not be in the lineup consistently until July. So he's going to get until then. Let's say that he proves that he can't handle third base defensively every day. What do you do then? Do you move Vargas to third, but maybe, Max to second? Do you flop them, or do you bring Bush up, play Bush at second base? Do you put Chris Taylor at third? How do you handle that?
It's like a Rubik's Cube of options out there. I mean, and a lot of them are very viable and fantastic and exciting. Michael Bush coming up, that's, for a prospect hugger like me, it's like, oh, come on. Yeah, bring it. But, I mean, I saw Miguelvargas for, at least the time he was in Rancho, he was at third base. He plays a really solid third base. I don't think that the Dodgers would have a liability there at all with Miguelvargas at third. Muncy could move over at second, slot in a designated hitter from time to time. Depends on, the health and just how everything is going. Like, we said, it's like a Rubik's Cube. There's so many different options. There's so many different variables and so many different things that could happen to, totally change the landscape of what we're talking about right now. So, I mean, it could be Michael Bush coming up, but you don't know. It could be Jahmai Jones coming up for a time. You just don't know.
Yep. Hey, I will say this. I do think he's going to figure it out offensively. I think he was affected, by the injury last year. Sure. September, he hit good. He didn't hit good in the playoffs, but nobody hit good in the playoffs. He hit good the last month and a half of the season last year. He hit good in spring training. He came into spring training with momentum. Then he had that first game of the year that just stopped all momentum with the 5 strikeouts. But I'm not worried about his offense. I think he's going to have a good offensive year. I am curious to see how this third base thing's going to go. I'm not going to lie. 100% exactly sure what's going to happen there. So, hey, we have a lot of comments to get to. Okay, Mike said, guess I'm going to be making a trip to Tulsa. How about that? That's
nice.
what you said, too. So, yeah, no doubt about it. Okay, Sean says, Pages will not be in Double A for too long. Okay, so I would
Agreed.
not disagree with that. I was curious, and, I assumed that he was going to break with the AAA roster. So dive in on that one.
Well, I think you start him in Double-A, get him the most success humanly possible. You don't want to start him in Triple-A, have him stumble, and then demote him to Double-A. You don't ever want to demote a prospect. You deflate a guy if you do something like that. So start him in Double-A. Yeah, he should probably be in Triple-A. And in a lot of other organizations, he is in Triple-A, possibly the major leagues. Start him in Double-A, let him find a lot of early success, and then I don't know if you wait 2 months, 3 months, mid-season, promote him, make it a big deal. It is a big deal. You want him to progress, and you want it to be very positive. So I think that's why you start him off in Double-A.
I think the interesting part of that is they promoted Ryan Ward to AAA instead of Andy Pages. And if you have listened, I love Andy Pages, but if you have listened to Dodgers Daily at all, I have been screaming from the mountaintops that Ryan Ward is an incredible young offensive player. He made tremendous strides last year defensively. So that doesn't surprise me. That may surprise some that Ryan Ward got promoted to AAA over Andy Pages. If you've watched Dodgers Daily, you wouldn't be surprised by that at all. And another thing is Drew Avens, got voted the Dodgers Daily grittiest player in the Dodgers minor league organization by his teammates. The other night. Yeah, dude, check this out, Steven. Okay, so first and third, right? Okay, he bunts the ball down the first baseline. First baseman can't grasp. Scores the run from third, moves the runner to second. Okay, a couple innings later, then he hits a sacrifice fly to score a run, right? And then a couple of innings later after that, he throws a runner out at the plate, and then the next day he hits a home run. Nice. I mean, that's just the kind of player Drew Avens is. Just does a little bit of everything, a baseball player in the purest. There's another outfielder. And then you have guys like Steven Duggar, Bradley Zimmer, Buddy Reed, who had a big night last. You got to see him, right?
I think
Michael Reed. Michael Reed. Okay, so you have these veteran guys like Avens, Reed, but not veteran necessarily to Major League, but they've been in the organization a long time. Then you have the guys who have been in the Major Leagues that kind of took up those spots for Andy Pages. So I think that's where that happened.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to having insurance policies in AAA just in case you've got to do some things with the roster and, you've got some injuries which hopefully they don't have to deal with at all.
Yeah, we have a comment here that says Ward reminds me of Jock. That's a very good comparison. I do think Ryan. I think. Well, how can I say this? I think he's got a little bit flatter swing. I don't think he'll fall off quite as much as Jock did. It seemed like Jock. Of course, Jock was aided because Oklahoma City still was in Albuquerque. Whenever he was in AAA and he had a million different home runs, he was a AAA. I believe he's a Dodgers minor league player of the year. Last year there, he hit 1 million home runs in Albuquerque, and the altitude, which is one reason why they like Oklahoma City and Tulsa, because the humidity here matches that marine layer, and so you get a better judge on your prospects. Hey, let's get to a couple more comments. We have a whole bunch of them here. Miguelvargas might be an overthought in the Double-A Tulsa Drillers lineup, but for 4 months, there was no better hitter in the Midwest League last year. Miguelvargas, he might be the most underrated offensive player in the organization. He really might be.
Yeah, actually. I mean, he's fantastic left-handed hitter.
Yep.
The whole field with power. Yeah, you might be right about that, whoever made that comment.
Yep. Okay, we are running out of time. We may have to reconnect here in about 5 minutes or so. Do you have another 20 or so minutes that you can hang out with us, Stephen?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. So we may have to reconnect. I still don't have the professional version of any of this, so I apologize for that, but we're still a little bit, we're small, we're mom and pops, and we do the best what we got. Let's get to some more comments. Okay, I think we may need to make a trade for infield depth. Of course, we've talked about some of the options that are in-house right now. One of the options is Luke Williams, and he's been playing fantastic. Yes. I know he had triples on back-to-back nights. He's a young man. Hey, don't sleep on this guy. Luke Williams.
No, not at all.
Kind of like you're talking about Jahmai Jones. Luke Williams. Yanni Hernandez is a good player, too. Luke Williams, I'll tell you what, he's caught my eye.
You know what? I mean, Luke Williams, no doubt. He's fantastic. He's got major league experience. Johnny Hernandez. I mean, these guys, you can plug them into a major league lineup. I don't think you necessarily have to panic at this point in the season and go after any other infield depth. I think you do have it at AAA. You might not love it. You might not be a fanatic of what you have at AAA, but you have guys that can come in and fill roles for a time. And I mean, up the middle, you want defense. You don't need these guys to hit 350 and, have 40 bombs. And who does that anymore anyways? You know what I mean? So middle infielders, I think if they can play defense and get you a couple timely hits here and there, be good teammates, run the bases well, plug in what you got, and then wait until maybe the trade deadline. And then you're correct. Then it's the time to make that move. But I think you got to give it a couple months here.
Yep. Okay, we have a question. Okay, who is the best third baseman at the AAA level right now for Oklahoma City? This is my opinion only, and he's kind of the Where's Waldo type guy because he played every position except for pitcher and catcher while he was at AA Tulsa. Yeah, Devin Mann. Mann, I love this young man. He's off to a little bit of a slow start, but, championship pedigree there at Louisville, and, of course, he likes second base the most, but, hey, when you're in the AAA, you'll do whatever the hell you have to do to play in the major leagues. Yeah. He'll stand on his head if he has to. But he's been playing some third base early this year. I've seen him play third base quite a bit. I've been kind of, talking about for the last year or two. Tim and I did a prospects podcast on third baseman last year, and he was one of the ones. That's, of course, when they still had Alex DeJesus and guys like that. Cody Hosey's a big one. So Cody Hosey's the best defensive third baseman in the organization, period, end of discussion, absolutely no doubt about it. Cody Hosey is a big league, big-time defensive third baseman. The question is he hasn't stayed healthy. He had the oblique injury in 2021. That really just destroyed that year. Then he started getting hot last year. Then he broke his foot. And then after he came back, he just couldn't quite recapture the offense. So this is going to be a big year from Cody Hosey. I believe he's still in AA, but I'll tell you this, he is by far easily the best defensive third baseman in the organization. Hands down, he is a big league defender at third base. But when you talk about offense and defense, the one that's probably closest to the major leagues, I think if they had to send up a guy to play third base every day from the AAA roster tomorrow, I think it would be Luke Williams.
Yeah, I was thinking kind of the same thing. Devin Mann, obviously, fantastic performer, plays all over the field, has to have multiple gloves and mitts with him to be ready for wherever they're going to put him. But I think that Luke Williams has, that major league experience. I think he's a guy who's got a very serviceable major league bat and can play a fantastic third base for you. He's a shortstop by trade, but can certainly play third base and do a really good job defensively.
Well, and you know how the Dodgers kind of view this like colleges view high school players. You go and you recruit a bunch of shortstops, and then you make them second baseman. If you recruit a second baseman, it's hard to turn that guy into a shortstop, if that makes sense. So Luke Williams being the shortstop, like you said, naturally, he can play anywhere, especially on the left side of the field. Okay, another question here. Here's a good one right here. I'm telling you, we have the best crowd of any show out there. Okay, who is most likely to be trade bait? You ready? Diego Cartaya or Dalton Rushing? Woo! Given the fact that we have the best catcher in the National League in Will Smith, okay, we need to extend Will Smith. Totally agree with you there, Joseph. Sure. Okay, I'll go ahead and start with that one. I don't think you're going to trade either one of them. When you look at Dalton Rushing, he played first base all the way up until his last year at Louisville. He sat behind Henry Davis, who was matter of fact, he was the first pick of the 2021 draft. And so he didn't catch until his last year at Louisville. Has a background in first base. He can play he can play different spots. Diego Cartaya, I think there's no chance, absolutely zero chance whatsoever Diego Cartaya ever gets traded away from the Dodgers, at least not until he has major league experience. And the Dodgers, maybe see that they're going to lose him in a year or two because of free agency. So honestly, if I had to choose one or the other, I would choose Dalton Rushing. But having said that, I don't see any scenario where either one of them gets traded. I think Dalton Rushing plays some infield, Diego Cartaya, and then I think Will Smith probably transitions maybe over to third base, and then you get all three of them in the lineup.
Well, I mean, talking about shortstops and moving them around, I mean, Austin Barnes, Will Smith, both shortstops growing up, and, they're both catchers for the Dodgers in the major leagues. So, I mean, you can move guys around, obviously, but I forgot what I was saying.
No, yeah, I still have Chase Whitwiska on the Dodgers dogs here. I see what people are saying now is that I still have his name underneath you, so I apologize for that, Stephen.
What?
I'm going to go ahead and say that. Hey, we're going to need to reconnect. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this meeting. I'm going to shift over to me. I'm going to set up a new meeting. I'm going to talk to the crowd while we're doing this. So, hey, I'm going. Dodgers dogs, and I'm going to say this one more time that I apologize for not changing the name tonight. I'm not exactly sure why I forgot to do that, but like I said, I apologize for that. Okay, so we were talking to the crowd here, Stephen. Okay, one of our members in the audience. Let's see, I'd have to look back up. Okay, Michael said, I think we need to make a trade for infield depth, and then it was Michael suggested that Whit Merrifield might be a good pickup. Interesting.
I've always wanted to have.
I said the same thing.
I've just always, I don't know, and just second base or right field. I mean, earlier in his career, the stolen bases, all the hits. I don't know. Has that window closed? I'm not sure, but for years I've wanted the Dodgers to trade for Whit Merrifield, so I do like that call, but I don't know if the window has closed on that being the best move for the Dodgers. I don't know. I'm no expert.
Yeah. Hey, did I lie? We have the best baseball crowd of any show out there. I mean, think about these insanely awesome interactions we're having here. Okay, now check this one out. Valerie says, I believe that's actually Mitch, says, but we got Bush and Devin Mann ready to go right now. No need to trade. Thank you. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. I could not agree with that more at all.
I mean, I would say that Michael Bush ready today, you can put him in the Dodgers lineup. I would say Devin Mann, and I love Devin Mann, but I think he needs a little bit more time, a little bit of seasoning at AAA. I think that's why it's important to have Luke Williams. I think that's why it's important to have Jahmai Jones for, gaps to be filled. And I don't mean
Jahmai's is 26, right? Jahmai?
I think so. Yeah. He was with the Orioles last year, and I think he's 26. Yeah, he could be 27. I don't know, but I think he's 26 still.
Yeah, He's 25. Okay. Yeah, no, he's 25. See, that's what I'm talking about. In other organizations, guys get moved up faster. So it seems, although they've been around longer and around the major league circuit a little bit more, it's because the Dodgers take forever to get their prospects up. And so it seems like they're older when they're not. Yeah, I mean, so Jahmai Jones and Jamesoutman are the same age. I believe Devin Mann is of similar age, So
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, all right, Mike says Chris Taylor looked pretty good at shortstop the last couple of games. I'll tell you this, I watched Chris Taylor play a lot of shortstop when the Dodgers first acquired him, when he became a Dodger, and I'll tell you what, he is a just unbelievable athlete. Of course, he played shortstop at Virginia on, if you remember those teams with Big Papi. I don't think it was called Big Papi. His name was Papi. But Virginia, they won a World Series, maybe 2 or 3 of them, and Chris Taylor was a big part of that. As a matter of fact, Chris Taylor had a walk-off hit that actually sent Virginia to the World Series. So he played shortstop there. Then he played shortstop when he actually came over from Seattle to the Dodgers. I got to see him play a lot in Oklahoma City. Incredible athlete, incredible range, incredible athletic ability, incredible arm. And then he would make routine errors. Does it make sense? But, hey, I'm not worried about that because you're going to beat that out of him with ground balls. So, hey, that's a very good point, Mike. I think that Chris Taylor, myself, has looked very good. So, again, if Max Muncy, if he continues to field under 900, maybe you move Chris Taylor to short and let Miguel Rojas do what the Dodgers got him to do and provide depth at whatever position you need to fill a hole at and put him at third base.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I really like Miguel Rojas at shortstop, though. I mean, I think he's a dynamic defensive shortstop. And, with this pitching staff, you want to have the best defenders possible out there. You've got Clayton Kershaw. Don't make an error behind that guy. You know what I mean? Noahsyndergaard. You want to limit these guys' pitches and just get them out off the field, go back and get your offense out there. I like the real dynamic defensive shortstop out there. But, Chris Taylor, he's no slouch. He can definitely make the plays. I was surprised when they started moving him out to center field and left field. I was like, he's a great shortstop. But, they did that with Timmy LaCastro, too. I thought he was a decent shortstop. Yeah. All of a sudden, he's out in left and center and, first base and everywhere. So, Dodgers move people around and, then you get the chance to, fill another hole and keep a guy's bat in the lineup.
Somebody said somebody's muted here. Okay, I don't see muted anywhere. Steven, can you talk again?
Hello.
Yeah, no, I don't see where anything's muted at this point, so I'm going to keep going on until I get another comment, but I appreciate that. Okay, when do we make a change at DH if JD Martinez continues to struggle? Is it time to move Muncy down lineup? I wouldn't have a problem moving Muncy down lineup, but the thing about moving him down is that he has a major league track record, so I don't think, the reason why you move a guy down the lineup is to get him better pitches to hit. I don't think, regardless of where Muncy's at in the lineup, the other team's going to know who he is. He's not going to get better pitches to hit just because he's saying the 8-hole instead of the 3-hole, So what you try to do is you try to take the guys, you try to balance it out, and you don't want all your best 4 hitters in a row because then you're going to be top heavy and they never score at the bottom lineup. So you try to spread them out a little bit. So that's an interesting idea, But I'll tell you what about with JD Martinez, he's that guy again. What is he on for? 11 million, something like that. 10, I can't remember the exact. Yeah. So he's going to get till end of July to prove that if he can hit or not. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, to an extent. But for sure, I wouldn't worry in the first month. Right. Obviously you can't win a championship in the first month, but you can lose it. But I think at the same time, you find what's working for guys, what spot in the order. I don't think you worry about things too much here, especially, I don't know, what are we, 6-7 games in? So,
yeah, right.
Just kind of let it ride out. And then if it continues, then you address it. I don't think there's any issues right now at all with Max Muncy or JD Martinez, in my humble opinion.
You haven't even started the process of thinking about the process that's going to lead to the process to remove them out of the lineup on a consistent basis, I think is what we're both saying at that point. And that won't even start until mid-June. The process of even thinking about it is what I'm saying. Okay, Murakami would be nice. I want Yamamoto too. Do you have any comments on that? I'm not
Jordan
gonna lie,
Yamamoto?
I'm not real familiar with either one of those two. So, do you have anything to add to that?
Are we talking about? No, I don't. I don't have anything to add to
Yeah.
that. Are
Okay.
they prospects of the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Not well. I know we just released Jordan Yamamoto,
Yeah,
but like I said,
I don't think.
I'm
Were they referring to Jordan
I don't
Yamamoto?
think so.
Okay, I don't think so. Yeah.
I'm kind of embarrassed to say I'm drawing a blank on that one. So hey, Sean, if you would go ahead and clean that up and let us and maybe leave a comment after that and kind of
Sorry,
explain
Sean.
to us. Yeah, no doubt. I apologize for that. Gave me a homework assignment. I'm going to go after the show and look those two up and make sure that I know who those two are, or at least more about them after this.
I have a built-in excuse though. I study for Big West Conference
Yeah.
broadcast constantly. So if
Yeah.
you're asking me about the Big West Conference, I've got an answer for you, but
Yeah.
I don't have an answer there.
Okay. All right. How about this? Good evening, Roy. Thank you for joining. Getting ready for the Laker game. Hey, awesome. So excited to have you on the show tonight. Tomatley, if you'll find Tomatley, one of the best baseball minds out there. Better be for an ace then, no doubt about it. From what I hear, Cartaya might be more injury prone. Of course, I've said it a couple, here's the thing about Cartaya was in 2020, you had no season, obviously, because of COVID. And then in 2021, he played 31 games because of injury. And then last year, he played 94 games. So there's absolutely no doubt about it that he wore down just a touch towards the end of last year. So, yeah, he's got the bigger body. He's the bigger target behind the plate, which is another reason why I think, you move him to first and you let him DH some, and you don't let him, that big body. It's like that running back. If you're a bigger guy, you take all those hits, you don't last quite as long. So
Sure.
You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think before the National League adopted the designated hitter as well, I think that, Diego Cartaya is a huge trade piece because of the, log jam at the catcher position. But he's a DH for me. I mean, if he's not catching, he's hitting. And, JD Martinez, he's your DH right at the moment. People already want to replace him right now after a week in the season. But, in 2-3 years, he's not going to be with the Dodgers. And, Diego Cartaya can catch half the time. He can DH. Maybe play some first. I know first base and the old, joke in the Moneyball and about how easy it is to play first. It's incredibly difficult. Yeah. But, some of these guys can just move around. But, I don't look at him as a trade piece. And he has had injuries, but, who of us haven't? I mean, I got injured the other day. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, I think that, you can't look at a guy's minor league career and say, okay, he's had injuries and okay, so he's injury prone from here on out. Well, no, maybe he got through that injury and he's completely healed from it and it's not going to be an issue going forward. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. And I also don't like talking about the subject at all because it just kind of gives me the creeps. And,
no doubt.
Talk about it and then the next day something happens to some guy. So, anyways,
you've got that broadcaster jinx. Let me guess. Right? Okay, when a guy's shooting a free throw, you never talk about how good of a free throw shooter they are.
I do. No, I do. Anyways, sometimes I'm trying to reverse the jinx. And,
Okay, fantastic. Cartaya will at least be Smith's backup, and Rushing can spell DH. Freddie backup and possibly left field. Don't see either as trade bait. I totally agree with that. Rushing to third base. Tim was on this. Tim Rogers, he reported the other night, I believe it was about a week ago, that Michael Busch was taking ground balls at third base in the backfields, and lo and behold, the Dodgers come out and said Michael Busch is going to start playing some third base. He's been playing first base now that Jahmai Jones and Yanni Hernandez have been playing second. So Busch has gone back to his college home at first base. And the Dodgers are saying he's going to play some third base too. So what do you think about Dalton Rushing moving to third base? He's built like a tank.
He is. He's built like a tank. I mean, the hot corner, it's just about reactions, right? In some cases, a lot of just hot shots at you. There's definitely a lot to it, though. But I think Dalton Rushing, obviously great athlete. I think he can move over and handle that with time and development and seeing plenty of reps, obviously.
Am I still muted? I've seen a couple of comments, but I don't have on my program that it's showing me as being muted. Could somebody leave me a comment right quick, whether you're hearing me or not? Am I still muted? Okay, Sean says it's all good, Japanese players. I'm going to do some research on them because, okay, you were muted when you switched. That's what it said. Okay, you're in between switching over. Okay, I just saw that. Okay, so we're good to go. I forgot to tweet, but someone tweeted that we have the top outfield defense for a couple of years now. Okay, let me give you the minor league. Drew Avens, fantastic defensive player.
Yes.
Steven Duggar, Buddy Reed, Michael Reed, Ryan Ward, Luke Williams, Bradley Zimmer. That's at AAA. At AA, you have Johnny DeLuca, Yusniel Diaz, Andy Pages, Jose Ramos, Josh Stowers, Emil Vargas. Okay, that doesn't even get into the Great Lakes guys. That the pitching in the Great Lakes is going to be just absolutely insane. So yeah, get into the outfield defense at major league level and then on down through AA.
What's that?
So talk about the AA and AAA and major league outfield.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of options there. There's a lot. I mean, man. Michael Reed, I know him as Buddy Reed from back in the day when he was in the Padres organization.
So does he not want to be called Buddy anymore? Do I need to stop doing that?
Yeah, I think he prefers Michael now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I shook his hand yesterday. I called him Michael when I addressed him. Great young man. I remember from Lake Elsinore Storm. I mean, just a guy like that. To me, he's a big leaguer, and to have him in AAA with the Dodgers, and that's just one example. Obviously, Ryan Ward, that's somebody that he had big time production in AA last year. I think he had 24 home runs and 78 RBIs. The guy is a hitting machine. He hits with a lot of power. And as far as in your question, I'm sorry, was defensively, but I think some of the arms in the outfield really impressed me, and center field quickness starts with Jamesoutman. I mean, you can't say enough about him, but yeah, there's just a lot of depth. It's a great position to be in, I think, for an organization, because there's a lot of guys that could step in and fill roles. And there's guys that you feel like, man, if they were somewhere else, they're in the big leagues right now.
Another example, Stephen, of how I've been saying that we have absolutely no doubt, not the biggest baseball crowd, hopefully this thing gets bigger as we keep going, but absolutely the most intelligent and best crowd out there. Okay, check out this comment. Do we really need infield depth if your backups are Chris Taylor? Let's see, let me get back to this. I don't know if we need infield help if Taylor and Mookie Betts. We talked about that outfield depth. So if you end up needing infield help, maybe a second baseman, you have all this outfield depth, right? So maybe the solution is to move Mookie to second base permanently. So basically your backups on the infield right now are Chris Taylor and Mookie Betts. That's pretty darn good, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's funny. Yeah. You've got outfielders backing up on the infield, but I mean, the versatility, the athleticism is off the charts. Obviously, the Dodgers front office knows what they're doing, going after guys like this to begin with, guys who, like Mookie Betts. I mean, he was a second baseman. This isn't, some, outlier, some wild hair up anybody's ass. This is, a good move. And I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to cuss on your.
Oh no, you're great. Here. Oh, I've done it many times.
Okay, I'm not allowed to cuss on the broadcast.
You're allowed. Hey, we've got teenagers that watch it, so keep it.
All right. Well, PG-13 it. Okay. All right. No, but I mean, honestly, though, for me, though, I'd rather see Mookie Betts stay in right field. I think he's a tremendous right fielder. And he's got a cannon out there. I like seeing that gun.
You hate to take that arm and put it at second base, don't you?
Well, I mean, I like him at second base. He's looked good. He looks like a second baseman. I mean, he doesn't look like a right fielder coming in and playing second base. So, and to find that, I mean, he's out of this world athletic. I mean, wow. You can't say enough about Mookie Betts.
Joseph said he loves the new old game. I totally agree with that. I 100% totally agree with that. Okay. Michael says, I think these next couple of games are vital to padding our lead in the division, given the Padres are going to face the Braves and the Mets. And that's a great point. Hey, it is a marathon, okay? But there's certain periods of time within that marathon where you go, hey, they're facing really good teams. We're facing teams we can beat. These are the little stretches that we need to make our hay in, and that would be one of them. So that's a great point.
No, that's a great point. But I think, at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control. You know what I'm saying? So, you go out, you put the best field on the team, or the best team on the field, and, go after it. But I think you just control what you can control, try to get the victory. Don't really worry about it, especially at this time of the year, kind of what other people are doing, because the Padres could sweep the Braves. You never know.
Yeah,
it's early in the season. You know what I mean? You could run into a good team and they're playing bad at this time of the year. I mean, so there's so many variables. I don't think you put too much stock into that at this time, but it's fun to look at.
Yeah. I think the Padres are going to be hot and cold because they're so top heavy. So when their stars are playing well, they're going to beat everybody. And then when their stars aren't playing well and they have problems in the dugout, I think they're going to have periods of time where they don't play quite as good. Mike says, I'm hoping the Dodgers go after Japan pitcher Roki Sasaki when he becomes available. Another homework assignment for me. I'm going to have to, do you know anything about Sasaki? I'm going to have to do some research on him. Yeah. Okay.
So I apologize.
Yeah. No, that's, hey, that's what this show is. That's another guy that we're going to do some research on. I will know more about him by the next time I come on. Okay. Most pre-Posey tank prototypical catchers get hurt quite a bit, getting acclimated to pro-length seasons. Totally agree with that. When you have that type of body type, man, and it's a long season. I get to talk to these guys. You do too, Steven. Man, when it's September, they are so tired. It's unbelievable. I can only imagine the catching spot, which is why I'm so impressed with Hunter Fiducia, because he actually gets better as the season goes on, which is, for a catcher, is unbelievable.
Yeah, Hunter Fiducia is the man. He's a fantastic catcher. I love that he got all those at-bats in spring training because Will and Austin were out at the WBC.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so speaking of Mookie, do you think playing him at second base is partially to keep him engaged through the full season? Wow, what a question, yeah. No doubt. He seems to really like second base. Okay, so I've said a bunch of different times the Dodgers don't like long-term contracts because there's no incentive, whether a guy's hitting 200 or 2,000, they're getting paid the same amount for the next 8 years, right? So when you have a guy in a long-term contract, you got to keep him engaged somehow to keep him on the top of the game. I don't care I don't care even, Mookie's elite on and off the field, but still, so you got to do stuff to keep him engaged. I do think that's a legitimate point that, hey, second base just kind of relights his fire.
Yeah, I mean, if it re-energizes one of your superstars, then yeah, maybe that's the strategy to go with. And I mean, he's having fun out there. He looks great. I don't know. When I first, he's a great right fielder. So, I mean, in my mind, it's like, okay, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But, there's other things going on sometimes that we're not aware of. And so, that's a great point. No
doubt. Okay, we should watch some NPB baseball highlights every so often. So much talent. I'm going to start doing that. I don't like, whenever possible prospects come up and I don't know who they are, that eats at me a little bit. I know it does you too, Steven. So no doubt about it, Michael, I'm definitely going to start doing that. Okay. Mitch says, I was a 6'5", 230-pound catcher. So I know how that wears you down as the season goes on. Yeah, no doubt.
Wow. Yeah. It's a big dude behind the plate.
Yeah, and then Mike comes behind, 6'5" catcher. I was a 5'9" catcher. Hey, so we have two backstops. Hey, and I'll say this: you know what they call the catcher? You know what they call catcher's gear?
The tools of ignorance.
The tools of ignorance. That is correct. How about that? So we have two fantastic catchers out there. Of course, I'm gigging both great fans and just awesome baseball people. Mike and Mitch out there. Both catchers, fantastic. Could throw from crouch. Oh, wow, big time. Yeah, love that. The throw from not even having to pop up and throw it, and could throw from the crouch. Okay, actually, believe it or not, I sent you these show notes and the agenda for tonight, and We've gotten to what, 1% of it?
I didn't even look at it anyway, so don't worry about it.
Okay, so let's go straight to the rookies. Let's give them grades.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's start with the 4 rookies that made the roster. Okay. Let's start with Miguel Vargas. Go ahead and tell me what you think. Give him a grade. Okay. Whether people agree with it or not, get out on a limb. Tell us not A plus, A minus. What is it?
Oh, no, A plus for Miguel Vargas.
Okay.
A plus, absolutely. I mean, the guy's eye is incredible. His maturity at the plate is, I mean, it looks like you're watching a 35-year-old Hall of Famer at the end of his career with the knowledge of the strike zone. I mean, the other night an umpire called a strike on something that he took, and I was like, and I think even Joe Davis says, don't you know who that is? That was not a strike because he didn't swing. I mean, he's been really good at the plate. Get on base. It makes the bottom of the Dodgers batting order just so much stronger. And then you get that runner on at the bottom third of the order, and you're getting back to the top. So A plus for Miguel Vargas. Yeah,
Michael says B plus. Mookie playing more second base. Jason says, good evening, Jason. Mookie playing more second base to provide more outfield ABs. That's kind of what we talked about a minute ago. I totally agree with that. Mike says it just seems like the Dodgers don't have someone who is comfortable at third. 1,000% agree with that. I could not agree with that more. Okay, Miguel Vargas, he's leading the league in walks. He drew his 9th walk. He leads the league in walks. Okay, his on-base percentage, 714, OPS, 1214, batting average, 333.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you didn't even need me to give a grade on that. You just read those off, and that rings in your head, A plus.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Here's the thing, and I agree with Michael on this part of that. I don't really even feel like Miguel Vargas is comfortable yet. It just doesn't. I've seen this guy hit a lot the last 2 years, and I'm just telling you, he's not on his game right now. He's a better hitter than what he's showing right now with those numbers. I said that a lot last year with Ryan Noda when he came to Oklahoma City. He was hitting all these home runs. I said, guys, he's really not even hitting good right now. So I agree with you, Michael. I think let me put you this way. For what Miguel Vargas is capable of, I think he's maybe B plus for what he's capable of. But compared to what a rookie should be giving you right now, I think he's definitely A plus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, let's give him some time. I think he's going to crank out a whole bunch of doubles and production and RBIs, and it's going to be a fantastic year, as well as the walks and the on-base percentage for Miguel Vargas.
Yeah, Mitch said that he learned how to throw from the crouch from Benito Santiago. Boy, he was good.
I almost said his name, but I didn't want to interrupt you. I was almost like, Benito Santiago was the first guy I really saw do that. I saw Tony Pena do it a little bit, but Benito Santiago was the man.
Yeah, A for Outman and Vargas, says Mitch. Tomatley says only criticism of Vargas. And I 100%, this is exactly what I'm talking about as far as Miguel not hitting as well as he's capable of. Okay, he has a little more lift in his swing than what he's had in the past. I don't like that. That's just my personal opinion. I think that's going to create a hole in his swing that, I haven't seen a hole in his swing his last 2 years. He doesn't swing at balls. He forces the pitcher to come in the zone, then he covers the whole plate. So, Okay, Tomatley says, only criticism I have of Vargas at the moment, he seems to be getting under the ball a lot, and that's because I think he's added lift to try to hit the ball in the air a little bit more, working with, I believe he's worked with J.D. Martinez. His launch angle isn't excessive yet, though, so that's good. Otherwise, he's been great, no doubt about it. Vargas spring training and now thumb injury are holding him back, no doubt about that. Okay, let's move on to James Outman. Talk about him. Give us your grade.
James Outman, my grade, A plus. Yeah. I mean, he's fantastic. He plays center field. He hits. He's electric. He's fantastic. He's a spark for any offense. And then you've got him at the bottom of this batting order. 2 triples the other night, a home run, I don't know, second game of the season or opening night. And I mean, I know he's tailed off a little bit in his hitting the last couple games, but oh my gosh, A plus. Yeah. James Outman.
Okay, so he hit the first home run for LA. He scored the first run for Los Angeles this year.
First stolen base, I believe.
Yeah, okay. He went 2 for 3 opening night. Here's the thing about him. He has a football background there at Sarah High School. He'll give Coach Walsh, his football coach, a lot of credit for teaching him how to be mentally and physically tough and how to handle the moment, because the football moments are huge, so He is totally equipped to handle the moment. Plus, Coach Giannino, his baseball coach there at Sarah, actually went to the University of San Francisco to be a mental strength training. You know, he worked on the mental side of the game there at the University of San Francisco. You know all about that. And then Coach Reggie Christensen at Sac State, you're very familiar with him, I know, does a great job of teaching the mental aspects of baseball. So he was trained by the best to handle the big moments of the game. So for all the talent that he has, I'm not sure that part of his game isn't the best part of it. And to show, of course, he hit the home run his first at bat in the major leagues to show he handles the moment. Yeah. He went 2 for 3 opening night. Okay, so I'm going to go A because he's 2 for his last 11. He's only hitting 250, which I say only. That's, hey, we'll take 250 from Jamesoutman. If his OPS is 1205, which is what it is right now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go A just because of the 250, but the 1205, that's pretty darn good. He's handled the moment, so that's where I'm going to go there. So let's get into some more of these comments. Yep.
And just think back, though, to all the prospects that you've seen in your life and all these guys that have come up. I mean, go back to Billy Ashley, a big prospect for the Dodgers, and then what they give you when they get to the major league, that's never what you anticipated in your mind. And then Jamesoutman's coming up, and he's giving you, like, a little bit more than what you even anticipated. So I think that's why, for me, he gets an A+ so far here in the season.
Okay, Michael says A. Jason says Outman is an A+. We have needed that middle linebacker attitude. If you haven't seen the defensive highlight reel that I put out on YouTube and all my socials, go watch it. It shows them flip over the wall. It shows them going up to the wall, not scared of it at all. Tamale Outman giving us what we wanted Cody to provide. Totally agree. He seems receptive to instruction. Oh, I can tell you, guarantees. When he first got signed, okay, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say on that note, Kirk Gibson gave you that linebacker mentality.
Yeah,
we got
great point.
And then boom, the team turned around as far as their mentality. I think the Dodgers lineup has missed a guy like Jamesoutman for a few years now, not to take anything away from the great hitters that they have in this lineup, but you need a spark plug. You need this guy to get in your face. I don't know, he's not getting in anybody's face, but he gets in the pitcher's mind with how good his swing is and how good he plays. I like him. I like the Kirk Gibson type of thing. I like that middle linebacker type mentality. I think the Dodgers need it.
He seems receptive to instruction. Another comment here, he seems receptive to instruction is where he probably differs from Cody. That is 100% correct, and I can tell you I went straight to the horse's mouth for that, and that would be Jamesoutman whenever he, within the first 30 minutes of getting drafted in the 7th round, Dodgers called him and said, hey, we've got to change your swing, okay? And he said, hey, whatever. So literally from 30 minutes after he got drafted, the Dodgers have been working on a swing. Now he has what he has right now. With Outman's speed, I feel he needs to steal more bases. Wouldn't disagree with that. Okay, when Outman gets hot, he can carry a team. Well, we know he hit 2 grand slams in 2 cycles last year. He hit 296. He had 106 RBIs and hit 31 home runs. So 100% Mitch, no doubt about it. Okay, so I have an A for Outman. You have A+. So we've done Miguelvargas, Outman. Let's go to Michael Grove.
Michael Grove, I would give him A-. I liked his start. I thought he was flowing. Things were going nicely. He had a really good rhythm, a lot of confidence. He was mixing up his pitch as well, which they're nasty, by the way. Kind of ran into, stumbled there in the 4th inning, got some base runners on. Still, the victory, when everything was said and done, was for the Dodgers in that game that he started. I'm going to give him an A- because, your number 5 starter, give me 4 or 5 innings. Keep me in the game, and I'm good.
I'm going to give him a B+. I'm going to give him a B+, and not because of anything he did, but just simply because he's at the major league level. This isn't the minor leagues anymore. And at the major league level, it's all about results. Now, don't get me wrong. The players focus on the what they call the process. Because if you get results oriented, then you start pressing. So they just do their daily process, and at the end of the year, they accumulate all the stats. They look back and see what they have. So he's not going to be worried about the results, but I'm just going to say, hey, this is the major leagues. Bottom line is he gave up 3 earned runs in 4 innings. That's an ERA of 6.75. Whether it was tough luck, no matter what happens, Bottom line is, that is the bottom line, right?
God,
okay,
you're
so
tough.
yeah, no. So what I'm saying is he had an A-plus performance, the tough luck, and the bottom line that it was in the major leagues and still gave it 3 runs, that moves it down to the B-plus. Am I off there?
No, not at all. I just wanted to give you a hard time.
Okay, let's see if we have any comment. Okay, we got a B from Michael. Michael and I have been on pretty much together on these. He got in a funk, but I felt Roberts was way too quick to yank him. Wouldn't disagree with that. You got to, I wouldn't disagree with that. Back dogs bite when they're putts. B+. Mike says B+. He's right where I was at. He's going to learn from that start and make adjustments and dominate. Agree with that. A for Grove, for Valerie. So C. We're kind of all, I told you our baseball crowd's fantastic. You had the A, I had the B+. Our crowd's basically on the exact same page here. A for Grove with everything that went south in that inning, plus he was sick. Yeah, I didn't mention that. I should have. We will see his best in the next start. Grove looked good, says Tomatley the other night. 1 missed strike call with the steel tag probably gets him through 5, maybe even 6.
I agree.
That's my comment. Instead of getting pulled early, I don't think there's any doubt about it. So Michael Grove, anywhere from a B+ to an A. I think that's where, and I think he pitched what he did. I'll put it this way: his execution was A+, but the results, whenever you max the execution with the results, I think that ends up being a B+ for me. But hey, that's a great topic for the water cooler. Okay, before we get out of here, we got about 5 minutes left. One last grade. How about Andrejackson?
Oh, Andrejackson, man, you know what? I mean, I can't take away anything from the performances he's given. I think he's looked really sharp, good mix of pitches. Mm-hmm. Small sample size than everyone else we're kind of talking about here, besides maybe Grove. But I'd give him an A. I like what we've seen from Andrejackson. I think we're going to continue to like what we see from Dre. And, it's a progression. We're still kind of seeing him grow, but I think we're going to see him into, some higher leverage situations as the year goes on. But so far, I've loved what I've seen from Andrejackson.
On a 100% scale, I'm giving him 100%, then I'm getting him bonus points. He's been that good, in my opinion, for several different reasons. Okay, going back to spring training, he's allowed single runs in only 2 of his 7 outings. So he's had 7 outings, and only 2 of those outings he's allowed exactly 1 run in those 2 outings. His ERA was 2.0 in spring training, and he did not allow a run in his outing the other night. And here's the big deal about that. With guys coming off of Tommy John like May and Syndergaard, and Kershaw being a little bit older, and then Gonsolin being injury prone, ryanpepiot is already injured, Grove being a rookie, that kind of deal. He stretched 3 innings. Okay, he's a former starter, and that's what I love about the Dodgers bullpen is that it's full of former starters. So when you have a guy like Michael Grove, that is struggling in the 5th inning and has only given you 4 innings at that point, it's not a big deal because you can go and stretch that thing out and get a multi-inning reliever like Andrejackson. So for the fact that he has been very good, and then also that he created length the other night in that game, I'm going A+ with bonus points.
Nice. Strong. I like that.
What matters to me is when and how they use Andre. I would totally agree with that. Matchups and the right situations. Joseph says B- for Andrejackson. How is Pepiot going to do when he gets a start? Boy, I'll tell you what, man, those Cody Hosey had it. Those oblique injuries. Ryan hopes that they got it, diagnosed early enough to make sure it doesn't last. But yeah. Okay, hey, you got any final thoughts? We got about 2 minutes left, Stephen. We're going to get out of here. I've taken a lot of your time.
No worries. I try not to have too many thoughts, so no.
Hey, we've had a wonderful crowd. I had a wonderful time tonight. Fans, just want to remind you to go over to the Hot Stove Baseball Talk. Did I get that correct, Stephen?
Yes, sir.
Hot Stove Baseball Talk. Lots of interviews. Last interview was with the hottest player in the minor leagues, Jahmai Jones. Fantastic interview. You can tell there's good rapport there. You can tell there's a relationship prior to that interview. It's a great interview. Go to Hot Stove Baseball Talk. Check out Steven's work over there. Also go to Dodgers Daily, and check out all of our daily stories and our interviews as well. And I hope you return next week at 6:30. I believe we're going to start having these on Monday nights because that's when the scheduled off days are for the minor leagues. Hey, we've had a great crowd. Best show yet. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you saying that. Appreciate it. Austin, we appreciate you too. Okay, so this was a super lot of fun. So just a reminder, hey, if you like this video, if you like this kind of content, click the like button, okay? Leave a comment. Tell all your friends. Spread the word about Dodgers Dogs. Spread the word about Hot Stove Baseball Talk. Spread the word about Dodgers Daily. Become a subscriber to all these Dodgers podcasts, okay? And then once you subscribe, don't forget to click that notification bell. Turn on your notifications. That way, each time Steven and I release a new video, you will become notified and you won't miss a thing, either from Hot Stove Baseball Talk or Dodgers Daily or Dodgers Dog. And as I always do, I would like to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers.